On a rainy day, the community and family of Marcus Reynolds gathered for his funeral. Marcus was a respected officer who mysteriously disappeared during a mission. His family, who hadn't heard from him in years, was there, as well as his colleagues, all in uniform. Among them was Shadow, Marcus's loyal police dog, visibly sad. "He was more than a partner. He was a friend," said a colleague, petting Shadow. Marcus's mother, crying, approached the coffin and whispered, "My dear son, how I wish I could have seen you one more time." The somber atmosphere of the funeral was marked by the soft sounds of sobbing and rain. Suddenly, Shadow, who had been lying down, got up and went to the coffin, sniffing and starting to bark desperately. "Why is he acting like that?" someone asked. An officer tried to calm him, saying, "Easy, buddy, he's at peace now." But Shadow kept barking intensely at the coffin, as if trying to communicate something urgent. Tension rose among those present, who looked at each other, confused and worried. "Shadow has never acted like this before," commented one of Marcus's colleagues, trying to move the dog away from the coffin. Unease began to spread among the attendees. "Could Shadow be sensing something we can't see?" asked Marcus's aunt, clutching a handkerchief with trembling hands. A senior officer, experienced with police dogs, approached cautiously and observed Shadow. "Sometimes dogs detect things we can't. Shadow might be trying to alert us to something important," he said. Marcus's mother, already shaken, looked at Shadow and then at the coffin, hesitantly. "But what could it be? Is Marcus in there?" she asked, her voice full of doubt and fear. Shadow remained restless, alternating between high-pitched barks and whimpers of despair, his eyes fixed on the coffin. A close friend of Marcus suggested, "Maybe we should open the coffin to calm Shadow and be sure." The idea, though controversial, gained support from some of those present, driven by curiosity and anxiety. After all, if Shadow, the loyal companion who had never behaved like this, was so disturbed, something might be wrong. "Let's do it then," agreed the senior officer, after briefly looking to the family for silent approval for Shadow and Marcus. With the decision made, the somber atmosphere of the funeral shifted to one of tense expectation around the coffin. Everyone waited to discover the reason for Shadow's agitation, not imagining what they were about to witness. Before the chaotic events at the funeral, Marcus Reynolds and Shadow shared a story of loyalty, dedication, and an unlikely friendship. Since he was young, Marcus had a special passion for dogs, which led him to become a canine officer. When he met Shadow, a German shepherd with a troubled past, something special happened. "I've never seen a bond form so quickly," commented the department captain, observing the two during training. Shadow was challenging, but Marcus saw something in him that no one else did. Shadow had lost his former partner in tragic circumstances, making him distrustful and distant. However, under Marcus's patience and care, he began to open his heart again. "Marcus, he understands you, doesn't he?" Marcus's mother once asked, seeing how Shadow followed him with eyes full of admiration. "Yes, Mom, it's like he knows exactly what I'm thinking," Marcus replied, laughing as he petted Shadow. The turning point in Marcus and Shadow's story came during a critical mission: the search for a lost child in the local forests. The conditions were tough, night was falling, and hopes of finding the child alive were fading with each passing moment. "Shadow, we need to find her. You can do it, boy," Marcus said, looking urgently into the dog's eyes. With a determined bark, Shadow led the way, using his exceptional sense of smell to guide them through the dense vegetation. Despite the initial doubts of the rescue team, Marcus's unwavering faith in Shadow soon proved to be justified. Overcoming time and natural challenges, Shadow guided Marcus and the team directly to the lost child, who was injured but alive. It was a miraculous rescue, highlighting the deep bond and mutual understanding between man and dog. "You saved a life today, Shadow. We saved her together," Marcus said to the dog, hugging him tightly under the relieved and grateful eyes of the child's parents and the rescue team members. That moment solidified the duo's reputation in the department and the community. Marcus and Shadow became local heroes, but more importantly, they strengthened a partnership destined to face any future challenge. However, no one could have imagined that an even greater challenge was about to emerge. To test the strength of their unbreakable bond, Marcus, Shadow, and the new officer Leo Thompson faced a different kind of night patrol. They were focused on tackling a recent series of burglaries in a neighborhood known for its lack of surveillance. "Marcus, do you think we'll catch them tonight?" Leo asked, tense with every movement in the shadows. "With Shadow by our side, I always have hope," Marcus replied, fully trusting his canine partner. As the night wore on, an eerie silence enveloped the neighborhood. Suddenly, Shadow stopped, his fur bristling and a low growl emanating from him. Marcus noticed the change in Shadow's behavior and alerted Leo to stay sharp. Shadow sensed something. "Let's follow his lead," Marcus said as Shadow silently guided them to the backyard of an isolated house. In the darkness, they saw hooded figures attempting to break in through the back door. "Police, hands up!" Marcus shouted, his gun drawn, expecting the burglars to surrender. But then, the unexpected happened. A shot rang out in the darkness, triggering a series of events that would change their lives forever. One of the burglars, taking everyone by surprise, fired towards Marcus and Leo. Marcus pushed Leo out of the way but couldn't avoid getting hit. Sensing the danger, Shadow lunged at the attacker but was shot in the process. "Marcus, Shadow!" Leo shouted desperately, exchanging fire with the burglars who fled in the chaos. Reinforcements arrived quickly, but the damage was already done. Marcus lay on the ground, gravely injured, with Shadow beside him, also wounded. "Hang in there, we'll get you out of here," said one of the officers as emergency teams worked frantically to help Marcus and Shadow. At the hospital, the tension was intense. Leo, covered in blood from being shot as well, hoped for a miracle. But the news that arrived was devastating. Marcus Reynolds had succumbed to his injuries. Shadow was stable, but the loss of his partner was a deep pain that no medical treatment could heal. Leo, wounded, made a promise to his departed friend. "I'll take care of Shadow, Marcus, I promise." That tragic night, the neighborhood lost not just a guardian, but a hero. Shadow didn't just lose a partner, he lost his best friend, his guide, his family. Amidst the confusion at the hospital, a critical error occurred. Marcus Reynolds, Leo Thompson, and a third person were rushed to the emergency room, and their identities were mistakenly swapped. As the doctors fought to save their lives, their personal belongings and identifications were inadvertently placed in the wrong bags. In the waiting room, the tense silence was broken only by nervous whispers and ringing phones. The medical team moved quickly, reflecting the tension in the air. Dr. Harris, the head of the team, incredulously asked, "How did this happen?" He realized there had been a mix-up in identities. The severity of the injuries had required swift decisions, leading to the confusion. Marcus's mother murmured, her voice filled with fear and confusion. The attendees, initially perplexed, began talking among themselves, unable to believe what was happening. "This can't be real," Marcus's mother repeated, looking desperately at the open casket. The senior officer who had agreed to open the casket tried to bring order to the situation. "We need to find out the truth," he said firmly, despite the gravity of the situation. Shadow, Marcus's loyal dog, continued barking as if to confirm that something was terribly wrong.
With the true identity of the body exposed in the casket that wasn't Marcus's, the hospital was immediately informed. The medical team, including Dr. Harris, was shocked by the news. "How did this happen?" he questioned, visibly shaken. The identity mix-up not only affected the families involved, but also revealed flaws in the system during critical situations. Still stunned, Marcus's family went to the hospital to see Leo, who was in a medically induced coma. Marcus's mother held Leo's hand, tears streaming down her face as she tried to understand what had happened. "Where is my son?" she asked, her voice weak but determined. The medical team promised to do everything to correct the mistake and find Marcus's real body. Meanwhile, Leo remained unconscious, a mystery to those hoping for a miracle. Shadow, loyal and persistent, stayed by Leo's side in the hospital, refusing to leave. Leo's promise to Marcus to take care of Shadow became even more profound, intertwining their destinies in unforeseen ways. The revelation at the funeral was a painful wake-up call for everyone. Human error in critical moments can have devastating consequences, as the mix-up of Marcus's identity clearly showed. The hospital prepared to deal with the repercussions of this mistake, while Marcus's family sought peace and a proper farewell. As investigations into the identity mix-up progressed, the community, once united in sorrow, now came together in search of answers. The story of Marcus Reynolds and Shadow, marked by unwavering loyalty and friendship, took a tragic turn, but also revealed the depth of bonds formed in moments of extreme hardship. Recognizing the grave mistake, the department chief urgently convened a meeting with the hospital staff. The investigation revealed that the rush to treat the wounded that night led to the fatal identity swap. The hospital director admitted, "We made a mistake," as he explained to Marcus's family what had happened. The error was uncovered, and the funeral had to be suspended. A new service was quickly organized to properly honor Marcus Reynolds, this time with his correct body. Leo's family was also informed about his condition, still in a coma, but alive. Both the hospital and the police department faced severe criticism and promised to review their procedures to prevent similar tragedies. Against all odds, Leo began to show signs of recovery weeks later. Although the road ahead was long, Leo's improvement brought a glimmer of hope amid the mourning. Marcus was finally honored properly, with Shadow by his side at the coffin, paying his last respects to his lost partner. The ceremony was emotional, filled with tears, memories, and recognition of a life dedicated to service. Now, without his partner, Shadow faced an uncertain future. However, inspired by the dog's loyalty, the department decided to retire him from active service, allowing him to live out his days peacefully with Marcus's family. "He deserves to rest. He deserves to be happy," affirmed the department chief, while Shadow, with a calm look, seemed to agree with the decision. "Now I want to know from you, is there a friendship greater than that of a dog and its owner? If you like animals, leave a like and subscribe to the channel to follow more stories like this one. See you in the next video, and God bless you.